Why hello there. Groovy here coming at you from the Grindhouse, and today we're going to be taking a look at the newest entry in the Star Wars saga, Obi-Wan Kenobi, which just wrapped up its first season over on Disney+. Now I have to admit, after being disappointed by the Book of Boba Fett show, that I wasn't super excited going into this. It just seems to me like the people over at Disney want to pump out these Star Wars shows, whether they make sense in the grand scheme of that galaxy far, far away or not. So, like I said, going into this, I wasn't super hyped, but I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised. Obi-Wan Kenobi tells the story of the titular Jedi Master 10 years after the events of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And old Ben has been lying low on Tatooine, trying to avoid detection while at the same time keeping an eye on young Luke Skywalker. That is until he's called back into action to rescue Princess Leia, who's been kidnapped in an attempt to flush out the elusive Space Wizard General. Now, overall, I did really enjoy this show. I found the tone to be quite refreshing, especially early on, because the series tries to follow in the footsteps of movies like Logan and The Unforgiven. This isn't Obi-Wan at the peak of his powers. This is Obi-Wan as a shadow of his former self. This is an Obi-Wan that's broken and haunted by his failures. He's buried his lightsaber, his connection to the Force is diminished, he's laying low and trying to live out his life as quietly as he can as to avoid detection by the Empire. Even when the call comes to rescue young Leia, he's hesitant to take action. But it's not long before his conscience gets the better of him and he digs up his lightsaber and sets off to rescue the young princess to fulfill his duty as the guardian of his friend Anakin's children. I also thought that it was a nice touch that he buried Anakin's lightsaber with his own, because at this point he believed Anakin to be dead, right? It was kind of a symbolic ending of that past life, or maybe it was just buried for safekeeping until Luke was old enough to begin his training as a Jedi. Luckily though, it's not long before the plot starts moving and the events move on from Tatooine. Now, I know that it's an important setting in the franchise, but I just get tired of looking at the same sandy dunes time after time after time after time. That's another thing that this show has going for it over the Book of Boba Fett. It has a wider variety of locations on display, which helps add to the scope of the series, and it makes it feel more like epic Star Wars because of it. And it also kind of has a bit of a vibe of Jedi Fallen Order in a visual sense, and that's not a bad card to take your cues from, right? So Obi-Wan sets out to rescue little Leia, not realizing it's just a ploy by the third sister Reva, a Sith Inquisitor, to flush him out of hiding to gain favor with Darth Vader. He travels to the planet Dayu, which is a seedy looking location that kind of reminds me of Coruscant with its dark streets and its neon lights. I kind of wish they used Nar Shaddaa, the smuggler's moon, instead of some random new planet, but it still serves the purpose for the plot well enough, I guess. But I digress. And in keeping with Obi-Wan's reluctance to use his Force powers, he mounts the rescue without firing up his lightsaber, choosing to rely on stealth and blasters instead of his Jedi abilities. The vibe of the infiltration kind of reminds me of something like Old Boy or Unbreakable, and the restraint that they used added to the drama of that first Force grab to save Leia from a nasty fall. And also at this point there was a Flea cameo from Red Hot Chili Peppers, so that's always fun, right people? And I did enjoy Obi-Wan's interactions with young Leia. I thought that Vivian Lyra Blair did a fantastic job with the role. She was plucky enough to be cute, but not annoying, and the wisdom beyond her years made sense to me considering her upbringing and who her parents were. But that's not to say it was entirely positive. There were some points where it seemed like they elevated her agency over Obi-Wan's, where she seemed more adept at surviving than he was, and I'm all for capable characters, but Obi-Wan is the lead of the show, a Jedi Master, and a former general. I just feel like at times they kind of dumbed him down for Leia's benefit, and that's just a disservice to the character, right? This guy should be a capable survivor, regardless of his connection to the Force at this point, right? Speaking of connection to the Force, Let's talk about the third sister. Reva is such a mixed bag of a character. There are times where I really liked what they were going for with her, and there were times where her actions didn't really make sense. Like the scene where she was trying to mind probe Leia and she was able to resist her. Like, I feel like a capable Inquisitor should have called a red flag on that one. You know what I mean? Shouldn't she be questioning why this small child has such a strong mental defense against her abilities? And then we have the fake out deaths, not just for Reva, but for the Grand Inquisitor as well. Because Qui-Gon Jinn takes a lightsaber to the chest and he clocks out permanently. Those two get their poke on and then they just play dead and then get back up? That's kind of stupid, right? Not only is it going against the set precedent, but it kind of undermines the drama and the stakes if people will die and just come back. Once was bad enough, but twice? Actually, it's 3 times if you consider Reva's flashback to the Padawan massacre at the Jedi Temple, now that I'm thinking about it. And I almost want to say that her motivations were kind of dumb, but the point of her being blinded by her desire for revenge is that it's supposed to parallel Vader's obsession with Obi-Wan. So while it seems kind of stupid, it fits within the themes of the plot, so I'm gonna have to give it a pass. But let's move on to Vader, right? I really did enjoy how even when he wasn't on screen, there was still that kind of foreboding, lingering presence. Almost like a Phantom Menace, if you will. The first time they showed Hayden Christensen's Force Ghost definitely elicited an audible "oh shit" moment for me. I was kind of expecting him to be in the Vader suit the whole time, but I guess Hayden Christensen was able to wiggle in a little bit of FaceTime into his contract. But nevertheless, once he showed up, you knew that shit was going to hit the fan. They let you know that Vader's not fucking around pretty quick by having him ruthlessly murder innocent civilians just to draw out his old master. And I know that some people say that the first fight sequence between Obi-Wan and Vader was kind of weak sauce, but I think that Vader was just toying with him because he's clearly shown to be just as powerful as ever in their second battle and the battle with Reva. He wanted to make Obi-Wan suffer, and he did, man, because he totally wrecked him. But of course, this is a prequel of sorts to the original trilogy, so there's only one way that that battle could have really ended, you know what I mean? And speaking of the OG trilogy, I do like how this show fits into the negative space of the franchise, even though the more that they try to explore that area, the more plot holes and continuity errors that they're inevitably going to create. Although, on the other hand, I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Star Wars was never without its flaws. Things were always pitched together as they went along, and that's fine, because these are fictional characters, and they're meant to entertain. Do I think it's stupid that Luke Skywalker seems to have forgotten that an Imperial Inquisitor tried to kill him as a child and grew up with a longing to join the Imperial Academy in A New Hope? Yeah, that's stupid now. Do I also think that it's stupid that now the original message that Leia sends to Obi-Wan makes it seem like she's recently had a severe head injury because she's talking to Obi-Wan like she's never met him, even though that they just went on a planet-hopping adventure together? Yes, that is stupid as well. I also think that it makes a lot more sense for the adventure to be centered around Obi-Wan meeting a younger Leia, even though with a few little plot tweaks, things could have flowed more smoothly into episode 4. But on the other hand, at least they didn't have Obi-Wan do some sort of Jedi mind wipe on young Leia and Luke, because that definitely would have pissed some people off too. But all in all, I did find myself enjoying this series a lot more than I thought I would. Did it change my entire perspective on the Star Wars franchise? No. But wasn't it a great entertaining slice of space opera action in the galaxy far, far away? Oh, hell yeah! And as I said, I did also enjoy how some of the visual cues seem to be taken from Jedi Fallen Order, like the Imperial bases, the Sith Inquisitors, and just a lot of the color palette and themes definitely seem to harken back to that, and that can't be a coincidence because that was a great fucking game. But moving forward, would I like to see more prequel action starring Obi-Wan and Anakin set before the OG trilogy? Well, I have to say, if this season is anything to go by, if they decide to do a second season, I'll be eagerly anticipating that this time around. I'm not going to make that mistake twice. But what did you guys think? Did you guys enjoy this series? Did you guys enjoy this show? Sound off in the comment section and let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed your day. And I hope you guys stay groovy, people. We outie. Bye-bye.